Walk with me, Station, as we take a stroll through the wasteland as we play a new free-to-play PvP-focused MMO called The Skies.
FreeMMOStation.com.
What's going on, guys? My name is Skylent, and all this footage was taken from my stream at twitch.tv/Skylent, and I can actually see myself streaming this game. I will spoil my critique here. I think the game is actually very interesting, but what I found interesting is that its progress is actually very, very good. Now, I played this game a couple of months ago, completely unplayable. It was, honestly, I would call it garbage. I would honestly go up to someone and say, no, this game's trash. Please don't support this game. However, please, we'll keep watching. I'm actually very surprised at the progress that this team has made with The Skies. The premise is really cool. It's basically Fallout as an MMO, kind of. And the gameplay seemed intriguing to me, but whenever, I actually got in and saw the execution, it was pretty bad. Now, playing currently, yes, there's still tons of bugs, and we will talk about that, but the game is looking so much better, sounding so much better. Even though there are some things that are off, there are a lot of glitches. I do want to say, though, that this game is early access, and this is gonna, just kind of going for all first impressions or all early access sort of reviews, quotation marks, bunny ears. Guys, you guys just gotta trust my opinion. It's gonna be ambiguous as well. It's basically my opinion, my sort of critique over the game as it has progressed and where it is currently in the chain of development. So it is currently like super early access, alpha, there's not many people playing, so I can't really judge the multiplayer. A lot of systems aren't in place, or the systems that are in place aren't completely fleshed out or polished. There's a lot of work that can be done, but at the same time, we are going to take the time to critique what they have currently. So if I say something, please don't be so freaking offended. I am just pointing out the simple observation that I have, and there is a little bit of opinion mixed in there. So the game has come a really long way, I will say that. So if you're thinking about donating or backing this game, I can say that they are actually currently developing the game. It is actually evolving and being more than it was yesterday, okay? So that's really good. A lot of these early access games, and I play these games, through different stages and through different months, and a lot of them just kind of stagnate and stay the same, or they just work on looking prettier. This game has actually, it does look prettier, but it has actually become functional, has become playable, and I'm starting to really see what the game can turn into. So I could actually see myself streaming this game. There's some really interesting content. It reminds me a lot of like H1Z1, the War Z, and the War Z and H1Z1 both have negative to mixed reviews. That's true. The Skies will probably fall in that category as well. It's just the type of genre that it is. It's really hard to make a super polished and mechanically satisfying game with this sort of open world PvP focused genre. However, The Skies is a little bit different because it does actually have quests. It does actually have sort of safe zone towns, so it's actually more appropriate to say it's kind of similar to like these medieval sort of sandbox games that we've been playing, kind of like Black Desert or and more like Albion Online, actually. So you do have these sort of quests, you have dialogue, you have a lot of crafting and stuff that's really reminiscent of MMOs versus the survival genre. So even though aesthetically it looks like a survival MMO, it really more plays like a PvP open world sandbox MMO. So I'm just saying that. Now, in saying that, what can you actually do in The Skies? Well, this being a Fallout-ish MMO, the story, it kind of like goes with that whole aesthetic. I believe there are mutants. That's what the story, from the quest, that's what I got hold of. So you can actually do quests and kind of like go to these different areas and fight like different kinds of monsters. And there's also like dogs and other people like raiders. I'm not exactly sure the whole like flora fauna thing going on. I'm actually on the website now and we can read it, but there are like a variety of different kinds of things to kill, if that's what you're interested in, and grinding, yeah. So whenever you kill dogs, you can get coin, you can grind. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like you kill dogs and then you get their fur, or you have to like actually skin them with an actual knife. You get a skinning knife and skin the dogs. It's not like that. It's not like that. You kill dogs and then you get some random like coin or sometimes items. It's just random. So it's really more in line with like other MMOs. So you can do that, do the quests, and the quests are really just sort of like, yeah, you get a little bit of story, you get a little bit of taste, but it's just really there to kind of help you grind. So Very reminiscent of Albion Online and Black Desert. Not like H1Z1 or games like The Forest, where you actively have to get a tool or make a tool and then use that tool specifically, you know, to skin something or to chop down a tree. I mean, you do have certain things like pickaxes, I believe. You can use a pickaxe to either attack with it or to actually mine something, you know, like a stone or something. You can do that, but to the most part, it's really reminiscent of other MMOs that are not in the survival genre. Also, when you die, you don't lose anything, it seems. Now, I don't know if that's just certain areas, but from my experience, you don't lose anything at all. So anyways, you can quest, but the quests are kind of just there to facilitate you, you know, kind of learning the game and grinding and stuff. But you do have voice acting, you do get story, etc. You can go into these places and do PvE. So yeah, that's really cool. Now, it's probably similar to how Albion Online does questing or dungeons, etc. Now, I don't know if there's any dungeons or instancing or whatever. You do have certain areas that seem like there's sort of like event areas, like you'll go there specifically for an event or specifically to grind something. So it's like Albion Online dungeon. The dungeons aren't instanced, like they're open, anybody can go in and out, sometimes there's multiple entrances, and the skies is like that. So you do a quest because you want some loot, okay? Let's imagine you have a team, like, you know, 4 people, right? You and your clan, you want to go and raid a block, like a little city or something, or maybe a sewage system, I don't know. And you go there because you want a specific type of item or whatever, so you guys can craft your armor, so you can get ready for some PvP. However, maybe somebody is there camping out in order to actually kill you, and there's a little bit of PvP. You know, there is that sort of system in Albion Online. We see that in Black Desert. So the grinding and the quest systems in those games are there to kind of also incentivize PvP so that it kind of focuses people in their grinding, so then PvP also becomes a little bit more focused. Now, you also do have open world PvP objectives, and this completely reminds me of World of Warcraft's open world objectives. In fact, I used to play World of Warcraft specifically for the open world combat until they stopped focusing on that. Then I stopped playing. So this game really appeals to me. Having people that want to either do PvE, having people that just want to do PvP, and then you have people kind of in the middle that kind of flip and flop, or just, you know, all in all, you have that experience where at any moment, you know, you could have a random event and a random encounter. Or in a lot of MMOs, like World of Warcraft or Terra, you kind of have the same experience every time, you know? It's, you go, you grind, you do a quest, you gather a quest, whatever, and then you go and complete the quest. There's never really any random events happening, and when you add PvP into the mix, your quests become a lot more exciting than what they would be. You know, normally, like, collect 10 of these things now becomes collect 10 of these things while trying to hide. And how you do that, you know, maybe you got to go into the bushes, you got to sneakity sneak, maybe you got to go the long way. And when you collect these things, maybe you got to collect one and then run away, wait, watch around. Maybe you got to actually fight somebody. Maybe you have to kill and fight for your life and kill these guys. Maybe there's a team camping them, so you got to go into town and maybe hire some mercenaries or something. You know, that sort of like that sort of design really turns me on. You know, especially as a streamer, as a content creator, because the content that you are playing is random and new and fresh and special, and it just really shows off you as a player. Games that allow me to make a lot of creative decisions is really fun. And in that, let's talk about the actual character creator. So in the character creator, we're gonna talk about stats first. You as a character, you can be like really smart, you can be really intelligent, you can be dumb as well, and that actually ties into how you speak, which is just like Fallout. You can actually become stronger, you can have more luck, you know, more crit chance, stuff like that. And the way that they kind of archetyped these different stats is very interesting. Like, luck is tied into crit chance. It's also tied into the chance of you being detected. So if you kind of want to go for like a roguish sniping, kind of like one-shot assassin, you might want to go for luck. And I guess if you want to be a tank, you might go for something else, whatever. But in saying that there's a tank and maybe being assassin, I don't think this game really has like a Trinity kind of thing going on. It's really more kind of like Bethesda games, you know, like Fallout, like, you know, Oblivion or Skyrim, any of the Elder Scrolls games. You kind of make your own class and how you play, and that does tie into the story. And this game, even though it's light on the story, it still kind of exists. So for instance, whenever you create your character, the character creator isn't finished by any means at all. One criticism though is that their blonde is actually kind of like orange brown. It's not really blonde. You know, a lot of games don't do blonde right. Anyways, as a blonde, it kind of irks me. You can actually customize the face to a pretty nice degree. There is no females yet. But overall, it's like, it's okay. I think the customization from what I've seen so far has a lot of potential though. So we'll see whenever the game's finished. Anyways, so when you create your character and you give him a lot of intelligence, your responses will actually change, you know, just like in Fallout. So whenever I was doing my first playthrough of my first character, I thought the writing was really dumb. I was like, is this badly translated or something? Like, what's going on? Why does it look like this? Because my character was just like, yeah. Okay, like he was just saying uhs and ums a lot, and I was like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Anyways, so that's because I just spec everything into luck, but you gotta put a little bit into intelligence or your character is really gonna be stupid. In fact, not only can you spec into like intelligence, right, to make your character just sound a little bit more intelligent, of course there's other bonuses to that, but it's interesting to me that the bonuses aren't just focused on PvP. You also can upgrade directly oratory, like you can upgrade your sort of charisma. You can actually play the PvE element of this game, potentially. I don't know if they're gonna allow you to be able to talk down prices, if you're going to be able to open up new quests because of being, you know, smarter or more intelligent, or maybe, I don't know, if you have more strength, maybe you'll be able to join a certain guild, or if you have a certain luck, maybe you can join like a thieves guild or something. I don't know, but there is definitely that potential in the game, and I did see that in the quest text and my character responding. You also get different responses from the people you talk to depending on how you speak. For instance, your uncle will talk about how you don't have brains, how they, you know, it's like, you're kind of stupid. But if you are smart, they talk to you completely different. So that has some potential there. It really is kind of coming along, it's coming to life, thinking about like a Fallout MMO. Like seriously though, the story seems completely ripped from Fallout, and I don't think anybody's really going to complain. Honestly, everyone wants this kind of game, and I think they might enjoy themselves. Now, also, if you found that Fallout, or even, you know, like Elder Scrolls games combat was floaty, this game's gonna be no different. It is going to be floaty, non-weighty, everything, like, you know, when you shoot the dogs, it's not going to really feel that good. The dogs just kind of just like stop in their place and then just fall over. Like this kind of genre just kind of has that. Like generally most MMOs do have that, though, however, it is early in development, and from the progress that I've seen so far, I actually think that the game has potential to get a little bit more oomph. We have a lot of graphical fidelity kind of being poured into this game, so the audio can increase, maybe the animation quality could potentially increase, and even though the core mechanics of the game will be technically floaty, they might be able to hide those things like they kind of do in like Terra or something, or Blade and Soul. You know, those games which are basically, you know, touted as the action MMORPGs, it might be possible, and the Skies looks really, really good. It does. I mean, it's from where, okay, just basically from where it was, it's looking pretty good. Now, what you're watching, yes, it is kind of barren, like literally it's a wasteland, but yeah, some of the textures are barren, some of the lighting isn't that great, the audio also is kind of grating on my ears. It's like sometimes you hear wind, right? And the wind just kind of starts and it's really loud and it's just like kind of harsh, and then all of a sudden it'll stop. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not very ambient so far, but I think, you know, from where it was, it's definitely a lot better. Now, let's talk about the overall aesthetic. It's basically just a wasteland. Now, I said it's like Fallout, but the actual location is kind of just a desert. Now, there are some sort of city-ish areas, but they're really completely blank and boring. Basically, have you guys ever played the War Z? It's kind of like that. Like, there might be a city, but there's literally no furniture, no nothing. H1Z1 is very similar to that, though. It's to a better degree. So yeah, the flora and fauna. The desert world has changed after many years of desolation, and it's dangerous and mysterious now. Climate has also changed, and the main vegetation in the game world is represented by almost dry trees and bushes. So, basically that's it. I just read it from the website, just basically it's a desert. Now, I did say it's like a Fallout MMO. I do not know the true story, okay? I do not know the true story of the game. I have not gone all the way through. It seems like they kind of like start you off and it's just like you're just some average dude, like it's just an average dude living in a wasteland. You know, you just accept it like it's an average life. Like, you know, this is every day. So it's not like you just come out of a vault or something, you know, it's not like your adventure starts immediately, which kind of sucks. I like when games like get me off, you know, on a really strong note instantaneously, like Guild Wars 2. Like Guild Wars 2, you start the game, it's like, whoa, Blade and Soul as well. I really love this cinematic stuff. Now, using the engine that they have, there is an intro cinematic sort. It's just literally just you waking up from your bed. I would like to see maybe like some sort of cinematic to kind of explain the world setting as we jump in. So that is one little criticism. Now, let's see, reading in the flora fauna. It says, grass is low and rare, wolves, wild dogs. That basically just a bunch of dogs is what I saw. Dogs and raiders. Gaggles and, of course, people are permanent inhabitants of the desert. Yes, bandits try their luck everywhere. They attack wanderers or owned caravans. This is true. And actually, I want to talk about the bandits real quick. The bandit AI is interesting. Like, they have a really large aggro radius, though they aren't really smart. And I don't know. I kind of wish, I know this wasn't in Fallout or really even in like Skyrim, for instance, but I just wish that games had realistic aggro radiuses. Like if I shot a shotgun, which is the gun you start off with in the very beginning, it's like super loud, and I feel like if, like basically I'm on the same block as these raiders, and I kill one of their, you know, their friends, their brothers, kill him, and like they totally hear this, man. Other players can hear the shot, but they don't aggro to me. However, it is larger than usual, and they are very aggressive, very fast, and since they do shoot at a range, like they have guns, and they will shoot you and kill you very fast. Maybe that's a balancing thing. I don't know. It might turn on or off some people. I know some people have been sort of contemplating jumping in or jumping out of the Division because it looks realistic, but it doesn't play realistically. So if you can get over that, if you can kind of suspend your belief, then maybe you'll enjoy this game. So, you know, it's like the whole same thing. If you're kind of controversial over the Division, then you will be the same with this game. All right, so in deep underground, in canalizations and catacombs, where people had to hide during the catastrophe. It just keeps saying the catastrophe. New creatures were born. They got used to dark and wet tunnels. Now, I don't understand why it says new creatures were born. Is it like how long after this catastrophe was? It says this is the Earth in 150 years after the catastrophe. So apparently, like, there's been some monsters that have evolved in the deeps of the darks and the tunnels. I don't know. Anyways, so it just says here, the team is trying to create a world that will reflect this new life as full as possible. I guess they want, I don't know. It's supposed to be like a Fallout-y kind of thing, but I don't know what this catastrophe was. Was this catastrophe like Fallout? Like, was it a nuclear thing? Like, I don't know. It doesn't say. I don't know about that. Now, I just talked about the dialogue system. I am reading off of the website, though. The dialogue system is pretty interesting. It seems like you do have some choices. Oh, they even actually mention, oh, wow, a character's story, gender, skills, and IQ will be taken into account for the dialogue system. So it's probably just like Fallout. Depending on what quest you can do, how far you go into a quest line, and what that entails. That's actually pretty interesting. Now, it says a character's gender, so I wonder what kind of quest might come out of that. That's actually really cool, something that most games don't take into account. And the quest system, the quests overall, what I found was actually pretty generic. You know, it's pretty, I don't know, maybe it's just because like tutorial stuff, but it's like gather this, get that, and you know, I had a little mini-map indicator. You talk to somebody, you gotta run, talk to somebody else, and you know, usual stuff. Of course, though, added with the open world, survival-y kind of thing of the PvP, yeah, makes it kind of fun. Anyways, you can play in third person or first person. I found third person to be much better, and most people who play H1Z1, especially competitively, find that third person overall is better. Increased FOV, and whenever you got to be on the lookout, you know, when you're looking out on the horizon, you know, looking for like some silhouette skylighting, you know, there might be some enemy players. You just want to look out for those shadows in the distance. You know, you got to be careful. Are you going to be attacked? Are they friendly? Well, either way, you want to know if they exist. If they are there in the distance, you want to know. And then you can act accordingly. If you want to go the long way, if you want to turn around, or if you want to actually chase them down and engage them. So, yeah, playing in third person is really cool, but you do have the option to play in first person. Maybe you want to aim better. If you have a certain weapon that's more range, you might want to switch to first person or not. Or if you just want to, you know, kind of be a little bit more immersed, you do have that option. And overall, like the way the character is animated and the way the camera controls, I felt pretty good. I mean, it felt all right. The only issues I had with the actual controls was really more of like, it was kind of audio and like feedback. Like the UI, pretty clean, pretty simple. But like whenever I was trying to use my shotgun, I didn't know whenever I could shoot again. So I would be sitting there trying to shoot again, and I heard the reload complete, but the audio, I guess, played a little bit faster than my actual reload completed, so you have to wait like 2 whole seconds, and then you're able to shoot again. So that was just a little bit weird, and I have to say, overall, the audio kind of actually messes with you. Like, you might hear something to the left, but it's actually to your right, or you hear things, like, it's right next to you, but it's actually very far in the distance. All in all, the audio, mechanically, it fucks with me, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to play a game here, and the audio is literally kind of hindering my gameplay. Now, the PvP, the team versus team, and the clan wars. Now, I don't exactly know. This is kind of ambiguous, and tragically, I wasn't able to play with pretty much any other players, but I will tell you my experience. Like, since this is a PvP kind of focused game, I will tell you what you can potentially do in the game, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on what might come into the game, because they're really vague in the website, and whenever I was in the game, it wasn't quite explained. I got to go to a main town, and through this main town, I think it's a safe zone. Like, you can shop there, you can quest, but whenever you leave, I'm assuming it's PvP, because there's all these like little sort of bases you can take over. It reminds me a lot of World of Warcraft's open world PvP, and so you can go there and take over a base, and I think you get more points as like time accrues, because there's like a little time bar in the bottom there that kind of starts to fill up. I don't know if you get more points or if you get like the full amount of points whenever that completes. So maybe you got to hold it for a certain amount of time. It's a really long amount of time, and it said that Skylint claimed the area, which is just a single player. So I don't know if you can go as a clan or a group and then claim like different territories, or if the open world territories around these different zones is just for single players, and then you have different territory versus territory stuff, because it does claim that there is PvP, which I know there's open world PvP, and then it says team versus team, which reminds me a lot of Albion Online, where Albion Online, you do have open world PvP, and you can PvP during like in dungeons and just anywhere. Well, there's certain zones that can be PvP'd, and there's like red zones, yellow zones, but in this game it just seemed open. Except there is supposedly like ways for clans to take over different territories. Like you can make a base, apparently. Now, like it's on the website, it's kind of confusing me because it says clan wars, but then underneath that it says PvP and TVT combats. So I think clan wars is like players get behind PvE clans, or like they go under a banner of like an environmental clan, and then they attack and raid villages and stuff like that. I think maybe potentially, because that's what it says. Clans are groups inside factions, unless factions are another layer of clans. So maybe multiple clans, multiple groups of players, like parties, could get together and then kind of make a faction. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. It's kind of vague. In the game world, there's several factions that can be at war or peace with each other. That's what it says. So I'm assuming it's pre-built. Again, just kind of vague. I wish it was a little bit more explained somehow. So yeah, clans compete with each other inside these factions to acquire higher positions in the general rating, which I'm guessing is like a leaderboard. Now, the strongest clan represents the faction. The players can select or change a leader of the clan. They take a vote. They can do that, so democratic. Awesome. One more important thing about clans is that clans can fight for a town, a specific town, and then get a percentage of its income. So I'm assuming, like, what you make money in this game, yes, from grinding, you can get some coinage, but your real coinage is going to be from farming, getting very specific materials, and going into these merchants areas in these cities and selling the items. So I guess if you are in a big clan and you own that city, kind of like Black Desert, you actually kind of have a tax on that. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. But then you have TVT, so you can actually fight territories with team versus team, so you can actually claim territories. Now, I said that there will be a way to build buildings or, like, build bases. I don't exactly know what that means. If you just kind of go to a pre-built area and claim it, or you actually, like, build it kind of like Albion Online, I'm unsure, but it is something that exists, and there's a huge amount of potential for that. So, games similar to this, aesthetically, almost none. It's kind of unrivaled, I think, in my opinion. Now, there are some games out there that have the whole, like, post-apocalyptic survival thing going on, but remember, this game, even though it has, like, the survival, Fallout-y aesthetic, it's not actually a survival game, you know? It's really more of a sandbox PvP MMO, so kind of like Black Desert or Albion Online, but you use guns. So it's not like H1Z1, it's more like H1Z1 mixed with Black Desert. And actually, you know, that's probably much more accurate. H1Z1 mixed with Black Desert, and you have a game called The Skies, essentially a Fallout MMO. And really, it's not just skinned Fallout MMO. It really has a lot of the mechanics, even like the story, dialogue, questing mechanics, put into its game. So, I think that so far, what I'm seeing of the development, since I had such time with this game, it's actually pretty good looking. Now, in saying that, let me close this first impression by saying I still think it's hugely buggy. It's buggy, and The Skies has a long way to go, but seeing its development, I think given enough time, this game could be really, really good, and I really hope it doesn't get negative reviews. Even though I know if you jump in now, yeah, it's probably not going to be a great experience, especially because almost nobody's playing it. But I can totally see a bunch of streamers streaming this game consistently. The open world PvP is just as interesting as like H1Z1 or something, you know, like one of those survival games. But you do also have all the interesting clan mechanics, and you do have the dialogue and questing stuff to go along too. So even if you don't like PvP, you know, you don't actively seek it, but you kind of want to still participate in the general area. You know, you want to participate in a game world that just happens to have PvP, you can do that. And personally, I'm the same as well. I don't always go seeking PvP, but I still like participating in those games that happen to have PvP. I'm not a fan of games that separate it. You know, like Guild Wars 2 separates all 3 different worlds, and I would really rather have just open world PvP, let me quest and stuff. But yeah, I think that PvP and always being cautious and scared of the actual other players coming and invading you, it adds completely to the experience, and I think it's a lot of fun. So that's my personal bias, that's my personal opinion. The skies is pretty interesting, but yes, hella buggy. Hopefully you see that in the gameplay, and also the audio quality definitely needs to be touched up, but the graphical quality is pretty okay. Oh yeah, a note on optimization. It ran okay when, like, you're just kind of in the wasteland. I mean, okay-ish. I really would like more setting changes to make the game prettier, but it also didn't run as fantastically as I'd like it. Now, it's no ARC, and it's no H1Z1, but then again, that's kind of the genre. However, the skies, since I haven't seen its creative tools, I can't really justify its optimization. But then again, that's probably one of the, that's more like a beta thing, you know, going from beta to gold. So it's actually running pretty okay, and it's absolutely on track. So if you want to buy into it, you might need a more, like a strongish machine, but I'm not going to say you need like an enthusiast rated build. You don't need like the strongest of the strong machines. I have an i7, a GTX 970 as well, 16 gigabytes of gaming speed RAM, and the game ran pretty freaking fine. I think the only hiccups were really because, well, you know, it's alpha, and also potentially latency with the server. Overall, though, performance was good if you want to buy in and play it. It's just, the problem is, not too many features at the moment. The wasteland is quite barren, more barren than I would expect, and there's not many people, okay? Now, if this game, even at this stage of development right now, if there was just simply like more people, like 1,000 people playing on my server, or whatever, how many people can play in an instance, I don't even know how the server system works, because all it says was choose like US or, you know, Europe, so I don't know if everyone's gonna be on the same server or not, but anyways, if there's like, you know, a couple hundred people online at any time, I think my experience would be wholly awesome, actually. And I can't wait to see how the game develops. Now, this was a long-winded first impression. Hopefully you got an earful and you actually understood what I was saying, but whatever, it is what it is. Casual first looks, that's really what first impressions are. You can't be a professional doing a first impression. It's not a full review, you know what I'm saying? So that's that. I'm Skylent. If you appreciate what I got to say, you might want to go over to my personal channel, Skylent Games. I got a lot of content over there, top 10s, cool stuff, or my Twitch, where I stream every single day and night, twitch.tv/Skylent, or what you could do is like and subscribe here, always here, and I'm always having fun. Thank you, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.